We're gonna read the Jungle Book. Hi, baby. Hi. The Jungle Book. As the moon rose in the sky, Akela finished his nightly story. Mowgli and his wolf brothers burst into applause. Akela was the pack's best storyteller. I'm clearly not. He wove tales of humor and suspense that kept Mowgli and the cubs hanging on his every word. There they are. Please, Akela, Mowgli begged. Won't you tell us one more? Akela smiled kindly at the pack. Not tonight, he replied. It's past your bedtimes, sang Mowgli, and the rest of the cubs scampered off to bed, chattering about the story Akela had told. Next one. This one. The next day, Bagheera brought exciting news to the wolf pack. In 3 sunsets there will be a jungle story contest, he announced. What's that? Asked Mowgli, excited. It is a chance for the jungle animals to gather and share their best stories, Bagheera explained. You have to enter, Akela, said Mowgli. Mowgli's older wolf brother, Pashu. Akela shook his head and smiled. Not this time, young ones, he said. It is about time you learned how to tell stories of your own. Soon word of the contest spread throughout the jungle. Everywhere Mowgli looked, he saw animals practicing their tales. Mowgli wanted to share a great story. He wanted it to be funny, scary, mysterious, and full of adventure and bravery. See him? Running. Monkeys. But the more Mowgli thought about it, the sadder he became. He couldn't seem to come up with a story to tell. Bagheera could see that Mowgli was struggling. Let's go for a walk, he said, perhaps, and you'll find your story in the jungle. There's Mowgli. That's you. How am I going to find my story out here? Mowgli said, confused. Many of the best stories come from your own life, Bagheera explained. Look around you for ideas. As the friends walked through the jungle, Mowgli paid close attention to everything they passed. He heard woodpecker tap tap tapping on a tree. He could tell a story about a bird with a big beak, but then what? He saw a turtle paddling through a small river and wondered if he could tell a tale about a brave turtle. But what would happen next? Bagheera, I still can't think of anything, Mowgli said. See, they're talking. Next one, this one. Like a tree waiting to blossom, you must have patience, said Bagheera calmly. Mowgli groaned and kicked the dirt. Groaned. He wondered if he would ever come up with an idea. See, he's mad. This one, see them all? On the day of the contest, everyone was excited about their stories. I'm going to get really quiet at the scary parts and use my spooky voice so everyone gets the shivers, the wolf cub said. Just wait until you hear my ending, Pashu said excitedly. Mowgli sat quietly. He still hadn't come up with a story. As the sun began to sink in the sky, the jungle animals gathered together to share their tales. Bagheera began the contest with a fable about patience. Mowgli could tell the story was directed at him, but hearing it didn't make him feel any better about not having his own story to share. See him? That's you right there, monkey. And there's everybody. Bagheera and all his little brothers. Right here. When Bagheera finished his tale, he invited the smallest wolf into the stage. The little cub did an excellent job of telling his story. His spooky voice worked well, and everyone jumped at the right parts. This one now. Next, a monkey shared a silly story about a banana and prickly pear. The animals laughed until their bellies ached. See them laughing? Pashu shared his story next. As he had predicted, everyone was completely surprised by the ending. It's probably a scary one. This one. Right here, look at him. As the animals continued sharing their tales, Mowgli grew more and more nervous. What story was he going to tell? Key. Suddenly, Mowgli heard a strange noise coming from deep in the jungle. Maybe that will lead me to my story, he thought, looking around to make sure no one was watching. He quietly slipped away to investigate the sound. Back at the storytelling contest, a long spotted snake dropped down from his hiding place high in a tree. It was Kaa the python. I too have a story to share, Kaa hissed. See the snake? Now just wait a minute, Bagheera said, moving toward the snake. But before Bagheera could take another step, Kaa's eyes grew wide, hypnotizing the panther. One by one, everyone fell silent as they stared at the python. See him? Big scary python. Meanwhile, as Mowgli headed further into the jungle, he heard the sound again. It was coming from beneath a rock. What could be under there? Mowgli wondered, imagining a surprise ending of his story. But when he lifted the rock, he found a bug. The sound had been nothing but a trapped clicking beetle. Another boring story, Mowgli thought. With a heavy sigh, he scooted the bug along with his fingers and set the rock back down. As he headed back toward the contest, Mowgli tried to think of a way to change the story. Maybe instead of a beetle, it's a fierce tiger, he thought. He tried to work the tale out in his mind, but he couldn't get it quite right. Look at that. Suddenly, Mowgli realized the jungle had grown oddly quiet. Pushing his way through the bush, he saw that everyone at the contest was completely still. Mowgli looked toward the stage. Kaa was hanging down from a tree. He had the jungle animals hypnotized. Mowgli knew he had to act fast. He quietly snuck up the tree and twisted a vine around Kaa's coils. Then he jumped down, rustling the leaves as he landed. Come over here, baby. Hi. Hi, my baby. What is that? Kaa yelled, whipping his head around as he tried to move. The vine tugged in the opposite direction and snapped him back. His head smacked right into the tree. My sinuses, he yelped. Mowgli ran around, clapping his hands together loudly to wake the other animals. What's going on? Bagheera asked Mowgli sleepily. Kaa, said Mowgli, pointing at the tree. There's Kaa, look at him. Kaa, Bagheera's voice boomed. Kaa hissed. I was just leaving. Kaa tried to slither away, but he was tangled in the vine. With one last big tug, his coils snapped free, and he got twisted up like a pretzel. As Kaa slowly squirmed back into the jungle brush, Mowgli chuckled to himself. At last, he had found his story. The ending. Mowgli stepped to the stage and took a deep breath. Once there was a man cub, he began. Mowgli's story was everything he had wanted it to be. Funny, scary, mysterious, and full of adventure and bravery. And that was just what he needed to win the contest. See him? They're all there. I love you, my baby. Be good boy, okay?